about a German player, but this could be the pièce de résistance of the summer. Florian Wirtz, German footballer, superstar, really, I think it's fair to say, in world terms, but maybe we'd even take him to another level. I'm going to try and remain as calm as possible. But if he arrives at Liverpool, probably just the 7 Ballon d'Ors to his name by the time his career finishes, who knows? But we are looking at the profile of Florian Wirtz, and this is a special player, isn't it?
This is a very special player. He's 21, by the way. This is starting with league minutes only, right, for the moment. He's played 2,300 league minutes, right? We know Leverkusen played the Champions League because we knocked them out. So, we beat them, you know what I mean? So he's used to playing twice a week at a very high level, German international, lots of things that are going for him. And he's also played that level of minutes in the league for the past 2 seasons. So there is an incredible amount to like from him, just from an availability point of view. Aerial duels, not so much, but we can probably let him have that off. If you look at what does he do, it adds to the team in terms of team success and the XG line. Last season was less. This season he's added to it. And this season he's improved as well in terms of adding to the team's success. So he is a positive influence on the team when he plays. If we look at his top though, I mean, the reason I've put forwards here is it allows me to compare him with a couple of players. Because I think people are talking about where's he going to play? He's going to be in the false 9, which is a forward, right? He's not an AM. We're not going to ask him to drop all the way back. So that's why I put him in the forward. But he has got 2 profiles, right? And he can play wide as well. But so defensively, as a forward, blocks, interception, tackles, all in the areas that we would want a false 9 for us to play, right? That's important to note. These are 96 percentile, 94 percentile, 87 percentile for tackles, interception, blocks. That's brilliant. That's what we want. We want our players to do that. Pump tackles is probably a little bit higher. In between the boxes, I mean, where do you want me to start? I mean, the only one that's not in the 90th is touches in the attacking ability box. But everything else, 99, 95th, 99, 97, 99, 98.
Yeah.
Who said he's a potential? He might be already just about to go supernova, and he could go supernova with us. Shot created actions, 99th percentile for a forward, right? So that's just under 5.5 a game. Expected assists is 97th percentile, assists in 99th percentile. All right. Shots though a little bit lower. He's in the 52nd percentile for goals when he's playing as a forward, right? If you look at attacking winger though, that improves dramatically because he has more shots than an AM, but he'll be playing from deeper. Still the impressive between boxes, defensively less so. All right, so he's more blocks, but the rest of them are not really in that kind of profile. If you look at that, the defensive metrics are down the bottom, and he's sort of 98th percentile for passes attempted, take-ons, created actions are high as an attacking mid. But if you look at him as a forward, he has a very good set of green, and the only things that really drop is the scoring elements are not as high. Okay, so bearing that in mind, those who listen to UP, I don't know what day we did. No, we didn't put it on pod. We were in a chat and we were talking about looking at false 9s. Yeah, if we're going to go and buy an elite false 9, what does that look like? So the other guy that we've looked at, that you and I have looked at, is Pedro. Yeah. And I'm not being funny. There's a lot to like about profiles, right? There's a lot of similarities there. But Wirtz comes out in terms of the defensive metrics a little bit more. He also receives more progressive. His pass completion is higher, and he has more non-penalty goals. All right. If you compare them both as AMs, Wirtz is completely dominant over Pedro. Okay. I don't think there's much point in comparing Wirtz with any of our current forwards because he's a different type of player, if that makes sense. I could compare him to Dom if I can find Dom. But I think he's he's very much a different player. If you because he can play off the left. So this is as an AM winger. So Wirtz versus Diaz. Diaz is in the red. Again, Wirtz stacks up pretty well against Diaz playing off the left. So yeah, and if you put him as a forward comparison, Wirtz stacks up, if not better than Diaz in the 9. Okay, so there is a lot to like about Wirtz playing either as an attacker or as a left winger. Diaz is arguably our best left winger at the moment. I mean, people could debate whether it's Cody or not, but he's up there. Yeah? So that's some really, really strong stats. If you look at him, so I did a profile for him last game of the season. Where was he appearing? What was he doing? He was on the ball. They drew 2-2 against Mainz, qualified for the Champions League. But he's on the ball exceptionally in and around half time. But even then, he's on it every other minute, which is good. If we look at they drew 2-2 out. He created nearly 18% of their EPV, and he was playing in the pocket, right? Which is really nice, right? Considering that level normally comes from Mo or one of our fullbacks, so to have that in the central area would be certainly something decent to look at. Threat from where he was playing, as you can see here, that's 18% of their threat is in and around the area he was playing. Defensively, though, was he doing anything bad? No, he puts the effort in as well off the ball. So I think there's a lot to like. Didn't create a lot of XG and had 3 shots in total. So there's a lot to like with him. All right. As we know, XT 0.2. Nice. So there is a bully tax. Bully tax is 15%. So you would have to bring that down. But still, he produces more XT even with a bully tax than any of our current 9s, if you like. So that's still something to be liked about. If you look at him in terms of his stats physically, because we know he can get those from the bully league, speed 34.3. So he's not a slouch by any stretch of imagination. Puts a lot of intensive runs in, sprints as well, and covers a fairly good, decent amount of distance. So, yeah, I would say this is an exceptional, could be an exceptional footballer for us to have, and would be really interesting to have in the squad, to be honest with you. Yeah.
I always enjoy these bits of the show when I've spoken to analysts and got a little bit of different info and like to put you on the spot a little bit with something around specifically. So, I mean, the things we saw there, they're exceptional. Even for, like, if we looked at it as an attacking mid-profile, just the passes attempted and the successful take on, the shot creating actions, reverse 93rd, 96th, 98th percentile on his attacking midfield winger profile. The one thing that strikes me with Wirtz, so you've got to say, and it is important to put this in, we know the system Liverpool play. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Leverkusen play almost the weirdest Christmas tree. It's like a 3-4-2-1. So it's usually Patrick Schick, so I think it's how it's pronounced. I have to be careful there.
Yeah,
up front with 2 behind him. And Wirtz is usually the one who comes off the left side of the 2 attacking midfielders or 10s, if you want to call it that, behind him. You're right. He has on a few occasions played as because people have him down as a second striker. He has pushed up top and higher on occasions, but most of the time he's one of the 2 in that 3-4-2-1.
Yeah.
So that's where he is. There's a few bits, but this is the first bit I want to give you. And probably the best article I've seen on Wirtz recently is a bit of a shout out to Sam Maguire and his Patron here. But let me just give you this from Sam Maguire's Patron as a sort of package stats and see what you reckon to it. He's average 2.83 shots per 90 this term, so not far off 3. 5.81 shot creating actions per 90, not far off 6. And he's averaged 0.99 goal creating actions per 90 in the Bundesliga. So let's just call it 1 and split the difference parts. As Sam writes, so in the final third, he makes things happen. Now, Sam also writes, combine that with 5.06 progressive carries, combine that with 7.01 progressive passes and 12 progressive passes received, and you start to get a picture of him as a player. He scores, he creates, he progresses play via a pass or a dribble, and he carries the ball. Sam Maguire's words, my words, Florian Wirtz does it all, doesn't he?
He does. And he's 21.
22. Only a few days ago, to be fair, but just 22.
Still, if we sign him now, we have him for potentially him going supernova and his peak years. Like we have that footballer on our hands to run the system right. It could be a monumental signing for us.
And the final bit to put it to you, again, because it's a slightly different Leverkusen when he comes to us, but if he was to play like the Diaz role or from the left, I mean, you could say the 10 and the false start, it gives us so many options, but just something that was countenance for us today, him as almost on the left, inverting, because he'll come in a lot. He can also go down the wing, but he will come in a lot. You want him on the ball with Kirkes bombing on beyond him. So almost Wirtz like our Coutinho, who come from the left, but also a 10 drifting that way.
Yeah.
With Kirkes bombing on beyond him as the road runner, as we call him. How attractive is that for Liverpool?
Oh, massively. It is attractive. I'd still prefer him to be in a double 10 Dom, effectively. And then you have you have Moen and Diaz getting in the box with Dom making a third man run. And then you have your fullbacks coming in. You have 4 players for him to thread a ball into while still maintaining a curtain behind him. I think that'll be. But when we're getting excited here, but I think the way we attacked as a side with someone like that in there is brilliant. And I think we can all hark back to the days when Coutinho played for us. We attacked beautifully. Like whatever you say about a player post he left here, when he was playing in the AM or whatever it was, we played some phenomenal football attacking wise. And this guy here is a lot to like about him. The bit I got a little bit extra, didn't show you, but so Darth ran some numbers looking at false nines.
Yeah.
And he's compared Wirtz with Firmino, Bobby, before he came to Liverpool. And the numbers are extremely similar, which is good for us, right? So remember, Bobby at Hoffenheim was 22. Wirtz is now, as you say, 22, right?
Yeah.
Non-penalty goals, 7, 8. So Wirtz has got one more than Bobby did, right? Assists, 10 and 12. So he's up, right? Shots per 90, 2.9 versus 3. Yeah. Key passes per 90, 2.1 versus 2.1. The same. Yeah. Non-penalty XG, 0.28 versus 0.27. XA per 90, 0.28, 0.32. So what I'm trying to say is that these are very similar profile to Bobby when we signed Bobby from Hoffenheim. And look how that turned out. So shout out to Dar for those stats, by the way, but he profiles extremely similar way to when Bobby was at Hoffenheim the year before we signed him.
Yeah, important to say that. Shout out to Darth for those. Shout out to Sam Maguire and his patron for the analysis. In simple terms, people, when a 22-year-old across the Bundesliga and Champions League already has 16 goals, 13 assists, 29 goal contributions, this is a player. Just honestly, I know you say it's not our money, Bart. I don't care about the money. If
I
you
don't
can
care
get
about
this
this
boy
one, mate. Just get him in. If there's a chance to buy him, get him in. Because you just wouldn't need to spend in that area for years.
Yeah, you'll worry about the rest later in the attacking sense. So, and ladies and gents, obviously we always talk about things like contracts and other bits. You're keeping up to date with it as much as we are. It's going to be us or buying, isn't it? By the looks of it, we will see what happens. But there we go. Maybe we saved the best till last. But as we say that, Bart, let's be honest. If Arroyo signed, if Adam Wharton signed, if Florian Wirtz signed, if all of those three signed, we'd have a party all summer. We will anyway, because we won the league, don't get me wrong. But if Wirtz is the killer there, he's the one that absolutely moves the needle beyond belief. But it's important to say, any of those three signings really improve us, don't they?
Yeah, 100%. For different reasons. Like, we don't want Canate to go, but the lad would add to our defensive makeup. Right? It would give us a viable third, fourth option. Wharton would 100% add to our midfield. He would help with the rotations. He gives you something different. He gives you another 6, whereas we don't currently have that, if you like. And Wirtz, it's just he would 100% move the needle. We would be extremely potent in attack, extremely potent.
People, Wirtz doesn't just move the needle. We need a new Geiger counter. We would if we got him. So we will see what happens with that one. 3 to be excited about, 3 to be hopeful for. Hopefully success avails in the transfer market, but we'll see. All it leaves me to say as ever is Bart, for the time, the insight, and for running 3 exciting profiles. It is much appreciated.
No worries, anytime.
And ladies and gents, that was another Transfer Market Metrics for Anfield Index.